I think that he wants to get a clock going. It's really important in this matchup to get some pressure because it's hard to keep them contained forever. But the island has been a huge consequence here. I think at this stage, Erik needs to ponder and search for a second red source.
Me too. Any fetch land will do. And a fetch land's a really big draw here. He can start firing off 2 red spells in a turn because we talked about all these removal spells. He's also got a Monastery's Whisper stuck in his hand.
Right.
And we're a long way away from casting that's for sure. He's also got a copy of Electrickery in the grip.
He's definitely come with action for this matchup,
Yeah,
that's
no
for sure.
Kidding. I think he might be casting it too. That's a little spice. There it is. It's going to be overloaded. 1 damage to target creature you don't control normally, and deal 1 damage to everything he doesn't control. So it's going to sweep some things away. And now here's an attack for 3 in the air.
Great turn for Erik.
Yeah, absolutely. Slows down Cradle a little bit. Does have to worry about another draw here from Elvish Visionary. And you always have to be scared of something like Natural Order, but still a pretty good turn.
He's making the best of a kind of rough situation. Not that the game is that bleak for him, but it is. He's definitely in precarious territory right now.
There's a glimpse. It's a Birchlore Ranger. This could get ugly. 2 green. Excuse me, 1 green. Queern Ranger. Untap the Nettle Sentinel. Trigger the glimpse. And that's in there.
And I think that Erik does not have Force of Will or even Daze in his hand right now, so. We might see, to put it lightly, some development from Kyle's side of the board this turn.
A touch. Cradle's going to be able to tap for a lot of mana this turn. There's Birchlore. That'll untap. That's in. Draw a card. McDaniel found a copy of Wirewood Symbiote as well. That was a big draw. That's in. Untap Nettle Sentinel. Trigger the Glimpse. And draw another one.
And keep in mind, this is all happening the turn after Erik overloaded an Electrickery. The Cradle still hasn't even been tapped. And you laughed at me for saying that World Spine Worm is an eligible cast.
Yeah, you know, you're right. You're right. Queern Ranger's going to pick up a land on tap a Birchlore Ranger. Going to keep it going. Pick up this, untap that with the Wirewood. There's the Ranger. Untap this. Going to draw a card. There's a Visionary. Draw 2. No mana floating at this point. And hasn't played a land this turn. He picked up a land, but he hasn't played one.
I think he's trying to give himself as many looks for a second Cradle.
That's what I
So
think
if he
too.
wants to, he can just cast the World Spine Worm.
Yep.
Which is fun for the whole family.
Except for the one that Erik Carson's a part of.
Yeah, sure. I mean, someone's got to be a victim, right? But
There's 6 green. Down to 4. Trigger twice. 1 and 2. Up to 5. Down to 4.
that's a big draw right there.
Yep.
Now, 1 mana elf is a freebie. It's usually bad news in Legacy when someone gets the die to keep track of their mana.
Yeah, it's terrible news, actually. Going to tap in those 2 elves with Birchlore Ranger. He's up to 5, down to 4. Draw. I believe that was a Pendlehaven. So not a Cradle. Different legendary green land. 5, 4. Peel a card. Up to 5. Down to 3. Visionary. Untap. Peel 2. Remember, McDaniel started this turn with a Nettle Sentinel.
Yep, and a Visionary here returned to his hands.
Yep. Freebie. Everyone met Elf's going to be a freebie.
Yep.
With Foothills the draw. Again, he has not even played a land yet. Hasn't needed to.
Trying to give himself as many looks as possible at Gaia's Cradle.
He's used the Wirewood in play. And he hasn't used the Queer Ranger. He picked up the Queer Ranger, so he can actually still use that. But this Elf deck can be tricky. You got to keep track of that.
There's a lot of little pieces of operations and triggers and all that kind of stuff.
Up to 4.
It's a very challenging deck to play.
Looks like he's going to go down to just 1. But it's a copy of Reclamation Sage. Time to draw a couple. Helmnet. Abrupt Decay. Green Spell. Actually lets him untap Nettle Sentinel. That's pretty adorable. Yeah, it says Green Spell, not Green Creature Spell.
And I guess it's your turn? Hold on. Might have something else to do real quick.
You know, organize all these guys. Hey, you know, it's tough. He shows him the World Spiderworm. Yeah, that's tough. I fizzled. Man.
Unlucky.
Yeah. The only other thing he could do this turn is he could attack with an Nettle Sentinel. He has not gone to his attack step yet. He's going to play a Pendlehaven, and there's your beatdowns. Yes.
The perfect conclusion to the turn.
Yep.
And take 2.
Draw approximately 300 cards.
Put 27 power on the table, make 1,000,000 mana, and you're on 13.
Eric doesn't want to play anymore. Kyle McDaniel is going to tie things up here. Elves and Blue-Red Delver are going to go to a 3rd game. That's the power of Elves starting the turn with a Nettle Sentinel, a Gaia's Cradle, and 2 Bayous, and then turning it into that.
And to circle back to that second turn, all of this was a consequence of Erik having the island and not being able to cast 2 bolts.
Unreal. Unreal.
I think he's able to go, bolt something, and then have 4th bolt plus electricity left in the holster. He's going to be able to contain Kyle's board for the entire game.
Yeah.
But he couldn't, and instead, Kyle got to put 30 things into play and draw half his deck.
Well, we're going to see what we can put together here for the 3rd game. That's for sure. Both players are going to shuffle up and get ready to go. While we wait, we will very quickly talk about Cardboard Crack. 3 books now available at Star City Games.
Very exciting for Star City Games to partner with Cardboard Crack, the most popular Magic the Gathering comic strip out there. We have 3 different paperback books, all on sale right now for $12.99 a piece. StarCityGames.com/cardboardcrack for more information.
I love it. You should follow it on Twitter. If you don't, I don't like you.
I feel like you're going at me every time you bring that up.
It's not personal. I think you're just making a bad play.
Okay.
That's all. I tried to give you good Twitter followers. That's all. You gave me Florida Man?
Florida Man is hilarious.
Yeah, you gave me Florida Man. I'm giving you Cardboard Crack. That's all. I'm trying to help you. Let me help you. That's all.
Sometimes you got to let someone help themselves,
Nah.
It's only so far you can go.
You need me. That's why I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Help me help you, Patrick.
No, I'm all right. I'm all right.
I see what you're saying.
Uh-huh.
Game number 3 going to be underway here in just a moment. These players have about 15 minutes left to do battle here, so we'll see if Carson, and to be fair, we're going to see if he can put something together this game. His draw that game was really good.
It was.
Actually, just short of Red Source. And the fact that he got to cast like Trickery, overload it, kill a bunch of stuff, set Kyle McDaniel super far back, and McDaniel said, I don't care. It doesn't matter.
So what's your perception of cards like Treasure Cruise in these kind of matchups?
I would, man, without having played this kind of deck for a little while, my initial thought is to at least board a couple out.
That's sort of my instinct too. I'm curious at other people's takes on it. I feel like in a matchup like Elves, I would want to have 2 of them in my deck. The matchup isn't so fast that I want 0, but it is fast enough that I definitely do not want to draw 2.
Yeah, and if I'm able to kind of mow down their threats, I want to be able to refill the grip. So I feel like, you can draw one of those in the mid-game, or, if you draw one of them, you're able to play towards it and refill your hand that way. But I don't want to be if I draw 2 Treasure Cruises in the opening, 14 cards that I see, it's bad news.
Real big trouble.
Yeah. 14 might be a little high, maybe 10, but
The point's well taken. It's the type of card where if the matchup is fast and it's about playing to the board, you just may not have that much time to mess around with things like that.
yeah.
And the consequence of Treasure Cruise, at least in Erik's list here, 0 copies of Grim Lavamancer in his main deck or sideboard, one of the best cards you can have against Elves.
Both players going to draw their 7. Looks like McDaniel is sending it back real fast.
This is one of the matchups where mulliganing is really bad because Elves needs a critical mass of mana and stuff to do and powerful cards like Green Sun Zenith, Natural Order, Glimpse, what have you. And Erik's way of winning this matchup is by running Kyle out of resources, by just bolting enough stuff to prevent Kyle from ever doing anything of significance.
And the goal is to do it with the clock out there, too.
Yes.
And, last game Carson was able to get the clock out there in Delver on turn number 1, but McDaniel's draw was really, really good. Able to rebuild the board and get the job done. I do wonder about the inclusion of Trickery as opposed to, actually, it's actually kind of interesting. I was going to say as opposed to Rough Tumble because that's what we used to see in Teamer Delver. Rough Tumble doesn't kill Flip Delver, wouldn't kill Mongoose when it had Threshold, and wouldn't kill Tarmogoyf pretty much ever. But in a deck when you have Young Pyromancer, you can't Rough Tumble.
Electrickery in the mirror match seems incredible.
Yeah.
Because it's just 1 mana, kill a Delver, secret's good, and no matter how much Young Pyromancer gets out of control, you can always clean it up.
Yep. And it doesn't ever kill any of your stuff.
Yeah.
That's the other thing, too. So actually, the inclusion of that card over Rough Tumble does make sense.
The old Rough Tumble builds that we've seen are skeletons of Nimble Mongoose, Tarmogoyf, Delver of Secrets, where Rough doesn't touch anything. Delver of Secrets flies, and the other stuff on the ground is so big. But when you have Young Pyromancer, it doesn't really play as well.
What are Foothills? We'll see what land he's going to search up. Well, we know it's going to be a Dryad Arbor. There's a forest. You saw Carson get his clock started, and there is a daze. So, no to the Zenith.
And I love that. Just daze anything against Elves.
Yeah.
It has a very short shelf life of being able to do something. And the easiest way to beat Elves is just keep the mana and board contained.
The whiff with the Delver trigger. It was another Delver that was drawn. A boring old attack for 1. Volcanic Island, there's a Delver. Pass the turn back. Quirion Ranger. That's in. Pick it up. Pick up the forest. Untap that. Play a forest.
That's charming.
Yeah. There's a Birch Lore. Looks like that might be in there.
And if there's a Fort Bolt in Erik's hand, which I believe there is.
Oh, there is.
This might be a really ugly turn for Kyle.
If you're Kyle, you're really hoping those Delvers don't flip.
He took 1 from the Delver, 1 from his fetch land. So if these Delvers flip, it is a 3-turn clock.
He's already used the Quirion Ranger, so Carson just making sure of that. Checking for blackjack. Hit. Oh.
And sarcastic, maybe yes, maybe no. Really was hoping those Delvers wouldn't flip.
Yeah.
And if they were going to flip, I'm pretty sure he's hoping it wasn't by revealing Fort Bolt.
A man in good spirits.
Kyle, you had a good run. You know, 6-1-1. It's a good tournament. You're still going to cash, but sometimes this happens.
You don't have to tell your friends the story. Just tell them to tune in. This is what happened. It's a rough way to go.
I appreciate, if I was in Erik's seat, I'd be hard pressed to not show him that I already had a Fort Bolt.
Yeah, that's fair. Here's a Monastery Slow Spear. Here's a Cataxian Probe. Creator of Behemoth, Glimpse, Elvish Visionary. Yeah, this is a disaster.
What a stinker.
Yeah. This is an absolute disaster. There's a Fort Bolt. Zing, zing. Those are going to the bin. 3, 6, 9. Dang, they fine. McDaniel down to 9.
Is it my turn?
Yeah, it is your turn. That's it. Erik Carson going to win this match over Kyle McDaniel. 2-1. Blue-Red Delver moves on to 7-1-1. If breakers go Erik's way, he'll be in the top 8.
And the uptick, as I mentioned earlier in the match, the uptick of Fort Bolt in perhaps the most popular deck in the format right now Not a good sign if you are planning on playing Elves at the Grand Prix this coming weekend.